Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Just before I turned on the microphones and everything, a song dropped in my mind, and it's based on what we're going to talk about today. The song is by Elton John, came out in the mid-'70s. It's called Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word. Big hit song. And I guess it aligns with what we're going to talk about, and that is forgiveness. It's hard to say you're sorry, but even more so when you need to forgive yourself for certain things. How do you say you're sorry to yourself? And are there other ways to release that energy? Well, the answer is yes. And she does it all the time, helping people through sound. Not an Elton John song, but preparing and orchestrating sound baths, sound healing, because sound has vibration and it's energy and you heal. And she's amazing at what she does. And she's Barb Sounds, and she's back with us. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good, Steve. How about you?
I'm good. And I've always often heard that forgiving somebody is one of the most strongest things you can do. Doesn't mean you condone what they did, and you're really not forgiving them for them. You're doing it for yourself. They already moved on. Whatever they did to you, they don't really care. But you're hanging on to it. So you have to release it. That being said, that's hard enough. That being said, forgiving yourself, I don't even know the way to do that. Like, when you think of those things that, what do I need to forgive myself for? All right, it might be there's things floating out there, sure. In forgiving yourself, I don't even have the answer, but apparently sound can help you do that.
Well, sound can help you do anything. Sound can help you heal from physical things, like fatigue and pain and not getting enough sleep. And it can also, help you with feelings and thoughts, because feelings and thoughts are also frequencies. Our whole body vibrates, but also so do our feelings and thoughts. So, playing for forgiveness, which I'm going to do today, is a really good one. And that's, I think, and from what I've read and from what I've done myself, I think that I would suggest that people, if they can, start out with like forgiving themselves.
Well, yeah, I guess it's in line with, you can't love others unless you truly love yourself. So it starts with you, starts with me. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And I think if you when I've tried to forgive, there's lots of people that I've forgiven in my life, and there's a small number that I just, I'm still working on, trying to forgive them. And I think, also we need to know that we can forgive somebody, but we can't necessarily know that either that they'll know that, or
I don't care if they know
them to forgive you. No, I don't care either. It's really just, I have to forgive whoever it is I have to forgive in my own heart. But I find that if I haven't forgiven myself, all that happens is when I start trying to forgive the person who, hurt me at some point in my life, then I just get drawn back into all the memories, and I get drawn back into, and then I start getting like angry at them again and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a good place to come from, to forgive somebody else. But forgiving yourself is really, really interesting. And I think, sometimes if you can just imagine that you're talking to your younger self, but you can talk to yourself really in a way as if you were talking to your child, right? Or somebody that you really love. And, and just saying like, I'm sorry that, I did this and this, or that I'm sorry that I hurt somebody, but, I also forgive myself because I didn't know any better, or, I was too young, or that was a really bad situation and there wasn't much else I could do.
That technique is powerful in healing, where you talk to yourself like a child. And it's done in hypnotherapy as well, where you are pretending, or maybe even seeing it through hypnotherapy, your younger self there and telling yourself something. And let's say if you've got abandonment issues, or you got bullied as a kid or whatever it is, and you felt alone during that time, and that's impacted the rest of your life, to just say to yourself, I will always be there for you. I will never let you go. I will never let you down. I got you. Same kind of thing. I want to clarify one thing. We don't need to tell the other person that we forgive them. However,
No.
sometimes it is impactful for us to verbalize that, whether it's in a text, whether it's words. Again, we really don't care so much. Maybe some do, whether they're getting something out of it or not. In my estimation, it's yeah, they've already moved on, but it may help us to physically confront them in some means, whether it's digital or not, to let them know, because it's letting it out.
Yeah.
You're letting it spill.
It's up to the individual person. I
Sure.
mean, I don't think you have to. If it's going to make you feel better, then
Right.
by all means do that. But
Right.
and what you were talking about is really, is called talking to your inner child.
Okay. Well, didn't
Because
know.
lots of things that we do as adults are, somewhat based on what happened to us when we were children.
A billion percent.
And I don't think you can, even just as we can't forgive other people before we can forgive ourselves, I think we have to start way back. Like we have to forgive our child,
And
for
I'm glad you brought that up. And it's been proven, it's so true. But oftentimes we have to forgive the child in us, because the reason we did whatever we did that needs forgiveness is because of the stuff that was stuck in us, or the way we were programmed as children. I'm not talking about the way our parents treated us per se, but that can be part of it. But things that we experience, again, you bullied on the playground, and that has nothing to do with your parents, but that conditioned you. And that may be the way, because of that, that may be why you react certain ways in relationship. And then you need to get, you need to forgive yourself for that. But it goes back to when you were a kid.
For sure. And I think also that forgiving ourselves, especially our child selves, isn't necessarily, we don't necessarily have to pick on the things that we think we did wrong or bad. Like we can I forgive my inner child, like my young child, for feeling alone all the time. I know the reasons for that.
Sure.
And I forgive myself for doing that, because and that gets rid of the little, back talk in the back of my brain as an adult. Which when I get into other different situations, we revert back to that stuff, right? And somebody may be doing something with a totally different, view of it all. And all of a sudden I'm reacting like, oh, I'm so alone, like, and that has nothing to do with the other person.
Nope. And ultimately,
back.
if you're forgiving yourself as a child, it's not your fault. It's if you feel alone,
Yeah.
there's a reason, and it came from your childhood, and that because of that, you're a kid. It's not your fault. It was
you did the best you could.
Right. And your parents did too, and I'm not saying they would be responsible necessarily for it, but maybe they might. Who knows? We always talk. We always talk, and then we run out of time when you play.
So, okay.
looking at the clock. So today,
good reminder.
Yeah, it's happened a few times. So if we want to talk afterward, we're good. And time. Today we're going to play for forgiveness.
Yep. And if people can, when you're listening to this, or the recording afterwards, if you're not listening live right now, if you can try to see if you can do a little forgiveness of you as a younger person or a child. Not like, let's not start off with somebody else. Like today, let's just play for forgiving yourself for, whatever is still affecting you that you want to let go of.
I love that. And we've never, with you playing, we've never said that before. And that's an interesting way to look at it, to connect it to when you were younger. Interesting. So for anybody that's never experienced this, when you play, you're putting the intention in, But when you're physically playing, it's not like, oh, all right, let me flip the music book here. Oh, page 33 is
I'll play
playing
this song.
for
Yep.
forgiveness. Let me go to the forgiveness song. No, it's the intention you're putting into it that comes back to
Yeah,
us.
and sound healing is energy healing. So
Right.
it's a little different than music. There's no words to it, which is good because then it relaxes your mind more. Your mind is not, thinking about the words or going off into, some memory you have of that particular song.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I mean, what I do, my instruments are what's called harmonics. So they have thousands of different notes that they're playing all the time. So I can't play tunes on them.
Right.
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 You
And
can't.
that being said, if somebody can tell me what song she's going to play or how it's going to go, I will give you $5 million right now. That's how confident I am because nobody can.
Yeah.
It's just not. You could play for forgiveness tomorrow or later on today, and it's going to be completely different.
It's
But
going
the
to be
intent
completely
is there.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I do is I mean, I play intuitively, but that means I channel the energy of the people that are in my energy field. So that's not just you because we're in a podcast right now. That's anybody who's listening live. And it can also go into the future, like anybody who's listening to the recording.
Right.
And our energy changes from minute to minute. And that's why the way I play is different. I could play for you again or for everybody again in like 5 minutes from now, or whatever, after I'm done, and it would be different because everybody's energy has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically channeling that energy of everybody who is in my energy field and listening today. And that's going into the instruments. And then what comes back is, the beautiful frequencies, and each person is affected differently, but it will go into your body, the frequencies and the vibrations, and it will heal whatever you need to heal, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever.
Well,
And
if we
today we're
run
going to
it,
heal
if we run out
forgiveness.
of if we run out of time, I'm not going to forgive myself. So I'm going to say, yeah, jump in. Let's do it.
Don't be late. Don't be late. All
Okay.
right. I'm going to switch my view here. Oops, not turn it off.
I'm back. There we go.
Whoa, there. Okay, so that
And you
everybody
have
can
the
see.
microphones in your studio on?
Yep. I'm just going to put them on too. There we go.
Yep, we do. I can hear the
All
background
right.
noise. Perfect.
Excellent. Hopefully you won't hear a little heater.
Nope, sounds great.
Okay, so to start today, let's just take 3 deep breaths in through our nose and then out through our mouth. And you can make a little wind noise if you want to when you're breathing out. And on the first exhale, just feel all the physical tension in your body just starting to loosen up a bit. And on the second exhale, let your thoughts that are swimming around in your mind just gently float down to the floor for a little rest. And on the third exhale, just let your feelings that are swimming in your energy field inside you and outside you, and just let them float to the floor too with your thoughts. And then we'll focus on forgiving ourselves.
I have to tell you, when you hit the chimes,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Maybe it's me. Right away, I was like I was in a zone, and then you hit them, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! It's like fresh air coming in.
Huh.
I don't know why. Is
Like you open a
is
window.
It was almost like that. And for a moment, because I'm not watching you as you're playing, I'm just zoning out. For a moment, is she doing that? Where'd that come from? And I don't know why that resonated with me. I was, obviously a higher frequency. Um, those higher frequency sounds like, 528 hertz, I hear is the love frequency of love.
Yep. Yep.
What do the higher ones represent?
Well, remember early on in our podcast, I played for joy one
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back inside my house, I thought, I don't know what the frequency of joy is. So I looked it up and it's about 825.
Oh,
So
okay.
way up there. Like
Yeah.
joy is, basically getting almost into light frequencies, like almost right out of the sound frequencies. Like the light frequencies are at a higher
Hmm.
level, right?
If
And our bodies vibrate, if they're healthy, they vibrate between 68 and 72 hertz. So love is like way more powerful. Way more
Wow.
powerful.
If a frequency resonates with you, like apparently the higher frequency did with me just now, does that mean you need it, or what does it mean?
Well, I don't think it necessarily means anything
Okay.
to your brain. I do tend to, I wasn't playing I was trying to keep it short today.
Hmm.
When I play for half an hour or an hour for somebody,
Good
I
point.
don't actually go from the gongs right into the chimes because it can be a little bit jarring.
Okay. No, it
And what I
wasn't really
usually
jarring. It
do,
was great. It caught my attention. It was like, oh wow, okay, that's
you
refreshing.
always
Or
like the chimes.
yeah, yeah, and
Pe-
I guess so. I find them very comforting. Then maybe that goes
Yeah.
back to when you hear wind chimes. It just does something to you. Like, oh, that's so nice. Your timing was perfect. We're just about out of time for today. And good point. When you do this, it's typically 30 minutes. This is just a quick
Or an
sample.
hour. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then this is, 10 not even 10 minutes. I think it was like 8, 9 minutes, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
how can somebody find you and maybe get a sample or just learn more about it? Maybe get a sound bath from you?
Well, if people want to hear more of what I do, they can go to my YouTube channel, which is basically
Hmm.
youtube.com/@barbsounds. And all of our podcasts are on there too, if they're interested in how it all works. Or there's just the 10-minute plays that they can do.
Sure.
If people want to, talk with me about potentially working with me, they can go to calendly.com/barbsounds. That's my booking site. And in there is a 30-minute, free consult, which includes a mini sound bath. So
Cool.
if somebody wants to, find out what it is I do. Yeah.
It's all energy. It all works. And we all need to forgive something, if at the very least ourselves. And I thank you for today. Thanks for being with us.
No problem.
All right.
Take
We'll
care.
catch up next time.
Okay. Yep.
We'll be right back.
Bye now.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.